So hello and welcome to today's information session on the School of Optometry here at Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. My name is Hannah Campbell. I'm Associate Director of Admission here at the university, and I do primarily work with all candidates that are applying to the optometry program. We're going to be here to talk about all things MCPHS, the School of Optometry, and then we're going to end with a Q&A session. So if you do happen to have any questions that we didn't address during the presentation, you can feel free to put them down into the Q&A box at the corner of your screen for us to address at the end of the presentation. And this session is also going to be recorded. So if you happen to have to log out prior to the end of the presentation and miss some bits, we'll be sending out the recording afterwards to everyone who did register. So with that, let's get some other introductions here with one of our current students. Delasha, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Delasha. I'm a third-year student at the moment, and I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, which is in Canada for all the Canadians in the chat. Yeah, nice to meet you guys.
We're also joined here with one of our faculty members, Dr. O'Leary.
Hi, everybody. My name's Dr. O'Leary, and I started with MCPHS back in 2014. So I've been with the program for a little over 10 years. I primarily teach in our pediatrics and binocular vision curriculum, but I'm in class, lab, and clinic. So questions on any aspect of the program, please feel free to ask, all three of us in this presentation.
Great. All right. Without further ado, we'll start off with some information about MCPHS. So just starting with broad overview of us, we've been around for quite a long time. We just celebrated our 200th year anniversary in 2023. So we've had quite the history of graduating healthcare professionals. We started as just a pharmacy school in Boston and have since grown to have over 100 programs in healthcare and the health sciences, well, over 100 programs now. But we are actually the oldest institution for higher education in Boston. These days, our Boston campus is primarily our undergraduate campus, but there are a couple grad programs there. However, we did expand later to Worcester, Massachusetts, and Manchester, New Hampshire for our professional phased programs. So we'll be primarily talking about our Worcester campus today, as that is where our optometry program takes place out of. But if you've ever been to Boston, we are located in the Longwood medical area. So it's a hustling, bustling area that's filled with a bunch of different healthcare institutions. We're right across the street from Harvard Medical School, and the same street as like Brigham and Women's, Mass General, Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, all sorts of different institutions. So it's really the place you want to be for studying healthcare. But unfortunately, we did max out some real estate there and instead saw Worcester as a great opportunity for expansion. So a little bit more about our areas here. Worcester is only about 45 minutes from our Boston campus, and there's also a lot of really great healthcare opportunities here. We have 9 professional phased programs here in Worcester, mostly at the graduate level. And then Manchester, New Hampshire is also our sister campus that has 4 professional phased programs that are mirrored here in Worcester as well. So these are great opportunities for those that are looking to work clinically in a healthcare program to visit either of those campuses. But our optometry program is strictly here in Worcester. And then we do also have online programs available as well for those that are looking to get some complementary degrees. We have a wonderful alumni scholarship that's available for all of our graduates from the optometry program, where they can get a Master of Public Health or an MBA in Healthcare Management, or even a Master of Clinical Research, which can be really great, especially if you are looking to open a practice of your own or go into research or public health or whatnot. So those are great ways to further progress your degree into an area that you're passionate about. But talking a little bit more about our Worcester campus, and that is how you pronounce that word. If you're not from Massachusetts, you may be wondering how we pronounce that. It is Worcester. If you speak to a local around here, you may hear it referred to as Worcester. You trade the ER for an AH. That is the Boston accent tutorial that I have for you today, so use it wisely. But we are the second largest city in New England, and it very much so is a college town. There are 12 other colleges and universities nearby our campus. This is also a great place for healthcare. We have St. Vincent's Hospital that's visible from our front steps, where some of our other programs might have some clinical rotations. But what is great for our optometry students is that just down the street, we have University of Massachusetts Chan Medical School. They have an ophthalmology program, so we often refer some of our more complex patient cases over to them. And we've also been able to collaborate on various research endeavors. So really nice to have them in our backyard. But Worcester itself is really a booming place for great restaurants and entertainment. And since we have a third-year student here herself, I would love to ask Delasha, what do you like to do in your free time when you're in the city?
So when we do have free time, there's a ton of restaurants, like Hannah mentioned, around the area. Even just where I'm at Lincoln Square right now, which is the main building for our optometry program. And just like where I can see right now down the street, we have so many restaurants of all different types of cuisine. So I have a list actually of all the restaurants in the city that I'm trying to make my way through, but that's something you can do around here. And in the summer, there's some really nice lakes around and hiking trails and things like that that you can go into. It's September, so the trees are changing color now, and it's really nice during the fall. So there's plenty of do around the area. And obviously Boston's just a quick train ride away, about an hour away. So that's great to have as well.
Yeah, and we do have two sports teams in the city. So you get your fair share of Woo Sox tickets, which is our baseball team, or Worcester Railers, which is our hockey team, that are through like various college nights sponsored by the university and such. So you can easily enjoy a sporting event or a concert, or there was an EDM festival in town just a couple of weeks ago. So there's always some fun things happening nearby. But by far, we are known for being a foodie city. So take Delasha up on that opportunity to see a list of some of the Worcester's finest restaurants if you want to make your way through them for sure. And one unique feature to us is that we do offer on-campus housing. We do have 5 different residential options to choose from, one of which is in the same building where all of your classes are going to take place, which is our Lincoln Square building. It was previously a hotel, so those hotel units are now our residence hall. So back in 2000, when we started our Worcester campus, it used to be a Crown Royal Plaza hotel, and these days it's our residence hall. And we've done some renovations to the building to now have a whole new academic tower where a lot of our other programs take place out of. But a lot of students do take us up on our on-campus housing opportunities, especially because for not only optometry, but several of our other programs have students coming from all over the country and even internationally to attend these programs. So it's nice to offer somewhere for you guys to land. We do offer studios all the way through multi-bedroom apartments, and no matter where you choose to live on campus, you're going to have your own room. So, this isn't going to be like your undergraduate experience. You will have your own space. You just might have to share a bathroom and kitchen space with other students, at least depending on the accommodation that you choose. Now, Delasha, I know that you are a resident of Lincoln Square here on campus. How has your experience been living on campus?
It's been great. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I'm an international student from Canada, so just coming to a new place, I really wanted to live somewhere really close by, just to have that sense of community, kind of live close to all my peers and classmates and things like that. But I stayed with it even into my third year. It's really nice from a convenience point of view as well, because all of our classes and labs and clinic actually are in the same building. So for the first year or 2 years, you actually don't have to leave this building at all for anything, for labs, clinic. That's a great thing. And then you have to schedule in time to actually leave the building because you don't have to at all for anything. But it's really great from a convenience standpoint because you can go down and practice your skills in the lab at any time because they're all open 24 hours. So it's very convenient. And obviously that sense of community that I mentioned, because we're all kind of going through the same thing. And then, if you see a friend in the library at midnight, that's a different type of connection. So it's really great living on campus.
Absolutely. And it is nice too, because it is super convenient for you to live on campus. Not only is at least Lincoln Square in the same building where your classes take place, but all of our other residential areas are within maybe a 15-minute max walking distance. So not too far at all. All utilities are included in the cost of rent, and everything does come furnished. With that, we can guarantee housing too. So it's not, survival of the fittest to get a unit on campus. If you want to live on campus, odds are we have something available for you. And we can also guarantee parking too. So even though we are an urban campus, these are things that we can guarantee for our students, which does, end up going a long way for you. So a little bit more about our community here. This is all the different programs that take place here on the Worcester campus. So other than optometry, in the same building where we have optometry, we also have physician assistant studies, physical therapy, occupational therapy, dental hygiene, and diagnostic medical sonography. And then we also have another section of campus that's about maybe a 5 to 10 minute walk down the street at Foster Street. And that is where nursing, pharmacy, and acupuncture take place. Some of these programs do have active clinics on campus, including optometry. So we do have our Eye and Vision Center and optical store, which serves members of our community. We do also do the same with our physical therapy clinic and our Balance Movement and Wellness Center. We have a Forsyth Dental Hygiene Clinic and even an acupuncture clinic. So these services are available for our students as well as the community. So I'm sure it will be pretty common that you might see a dental hygiene student approach you and ask to clean your teeth. So fair warning there. But it is also a great opportunity to try out acupuncture if you've never had the opportunity to do so, as we do also have an herbal dispensary as part of our acupuncture program. So you can get services from our students and also have some herbs that you can try too. So definitely a fun community to be a part of. And we bring everyone together on a semesterly basis for what we call interprofessional education, or IPE. And this is really the university's take at sort of alleviating the current state of the healthcare system for future generations of healthcare professionals. So right now, healthcare in the US could use a little bit of help. It's often described as fragmented and uncoordinated. So our goal here is to make sure that our students are better equipped to collaborate interdisciplinary with each other by the time that they graduate. So we have an IPE event at least once a semester where students will get to come together and learn about working with patients from different cultures and backgrounds, and ultimately how to work as a team once they're employed in the healthcare system. In the past, we've done an emergency medicine Narcan training. We've done a dementia simulation, a diabetes maintenance training even, all sort of centered around the idea that these are patients that you may encounter in your day-to-day. So like patients who've struggled with addiction or who have dementia or who have diabetes. So it's nice to see how, not only you're able to intervene to provide support, but also how your colleagues from these other areas are also able to intervene. Then Delasha, I know that you collaborated with a couple of different programs not too long ago for an IPE event. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what it entailed?
Yeah, so optometry, pharmacy, and physical therapy recently came together to put through an event called Falls Awareness, and we had a bunch of seniors come from a senior home nearby. And obviously that's a huge risk in that population for falls, either because of their physical conditions, mobility issues, or the drugs that they're on, or vision issues. So we came together and we educated that population on the things that can cause falls and the ways that we can prevent falls. So obviously, as helpful as that is for the demographic, it's also really beneficial for us to learn about how the patients that we're seeing are also seeing other providers and what that entails, right? And it's a really cool opportunity for all the programs to come together as well.
Absolutely. And there will be other opportunities for you to learn from these other programs and more one-on-one types of initiatives. I know we get together with our PA students from time to time where they'll teach you signs of traumatic brain injury and concussion. And then in exchange, you get to teach them how to use a slit lamp. So the beauty is there's something to be learned from everyone, of course. Now, in terms of some other university support services that we have in place, we do have some great support from our Center for Academic Success and Enrichment, which has both peer and professional tutors. We also have faculty mentors or faculty advisors that are assigned to students when they do start the program, as well as career services and counseling services, all of these that are available to our students free of cost. So plenty of resources available should students need to seek those out. So let's talk a little bit more about the optometry program, which you all came here for. So our program does launch once a year, every fall. So September, we just started a cohort only a couple of weeks ago. So we're fresh into the fall semester currently. And the program is about 4 years in length. We are a small to mid-sized cohort with about 64 students each year. When you are in the lab setting, that is further broken down into 16 students per lab. It's even a smaller student to faculty ratio in the lab because we often have 2, if not more, faculty members in the lab at any given time. We do have a really great opportunity for students to pursue a sort of buy one, get one deal for a Master of Public Health, as I like to call it. So that's a dual degree option that you can decide to pursue by your 3rd semester in the program. So you get your first 2 semesters to really focus on your optometry studies and, suss out if you'd like to tack on that MPH. But it is a really great credential to add to your tool belt, especially if you're looking to go into education or even access and advocacy. It just adds 1 additional online course to your curriculum per semester, and it is an asynchronous course. So you typically get your assignments at the beginning of the week and then have until Sunday at midnight or so to submit everything. So definitely some good flexibility there. There are some prerequisite requirements for the optometry program, which are listed on our website. We require chemistry 1 and 2, organic chemistry, biology 1 and 2, microbiology, physics 1 and 2, statistics, calculus, and 2 English courses, which could also just be other writing intensive courses. So I think I named them all off the top of my head, but if you wanted a more detailed breakdown, we have all of those courses listed under our admission requirements on the program page. Now, we do really pride ourselves on preparing students clinically in this program. We have an emphasis on the early clinical exposure piece, and that has gone a long way to help our students get matched with an optometric residency once they do graduate from the program. So we have been consistently above national average when it does come to an optometric residency match rate. So if you are looking to do residency, it's a great way to hyper accelerate your resume, especially if you're looking to go into a specialty or perhaps teach one day. So I do highly encourage you to keep that in your back pocket and think about it as you continue through your own optometry studies. But next, we're going to do a bit of a breakdown and let you know what you can experience or expect to experience in the program as we move through all 4 years. So since Delasha is on year 3, she's going to take us through, I guess, what your experience has kind of been like and what it's entailed for you and what you expect your 4th year to include as well. So let's start with year 1.
Okay, so our first year is mostly the foundational year in the entire program, where we're mostly doing lectures and labs to establish the foundations that the other courses, like the disease courses, will be built upon. However, you're also learning all your clinical skills during the time in a course called OTMs, Optometric Theory and Methods, so that you're practicing all these skills on each other so that by the time you get into clinic in the beginning of 2nd year, you're ready. Also throughout year 1, we'll get a lot of observation opportunities where we're shadowing our upperclassmen in primary care so that we're kind of ready to know how that works by the time we actually get into clinic in our 2nd year. So 2nd year fall semester, which is going to be your 4th semester here, you'll start to see your own patients with faculty and preceptors in the Eye and Vision Center, which is also in this building I'm in right now, 10 Lincoln Square. You're also going to be participating in vision screenings, and we have a really good relationship with the Worcester Public Schools, so we go down there quite often in the first few semesters as well. 2nd semester is mostly you're going to be spending a lot of time doing either exams in primary care clinic, which is your basic eye exam at the Eye and Vision Center. And we also go out to the community health centers, they're called EMK. And we go out there about once every month in the last few semesters of 2nd year, but it really starts to amp up towards the end of 2nd year. 3rd year is what I'm doing right now. It gets really exciting because you're exposed to all of the specialty clinics. So that is things like pediatrics, binocular vision, low vision, glaucoma, contact lenses. We also have a developmental disabilities clinic here on campus, but you're going to be rotating through all of these different specialty clinics. And also at the same time, we're going to be rotating through the community health centers where you're still seeing the primary care exams. Personally, I'm rotating through contact lens clinic right now and a little bit of other stuff mixed in. I have friends that are rotating through glaucoma or peds, so you really get a bit of exposure to everything. And fourth year, we do 3 externships that are about 4 months each, and we have a lot of externship sites that are far and wide. California, Alaska, really you get your, if you want to travel during that time, you have a ton of options. But that's an overview. If I missed anything, Hannah or Dr. O'Leary, please feel free to add.
Yeah, I actually want to go back a little bit and talk about one of our newer initiatives, which includes our Jumpstart program. So I know, Delasha, you didn't have this when you were a first-year student, but our second years and now our first years are going through the Jumpstart curriculum there. So it does start with an orientation just to prepare students for more of a smooth transition into the curriculum and expectations of being an optometry student. And a big focal point of early Jumpstart is to help you to identify proper study techniques that you need to be successful in this type of a rigorous 4-year doctoral program. We were sort of finding that students were bringing in their study habits from undergrad and wasn't quite making the cut sometimes. So we started everyone off on a clean slate, helping you to identify proper study techniques that match your own individual learning styles to adopt as you progress into this program. So that's been a huge support for our students. And Jumpstart does continue on throughout your time here at MCPHS. One of our second year students was just telling me that she saw her first patient last week. And just before that, they had a jump start to prep them for what they can expect when they start seeing patients in the clinic. So it's a good way to check in and make sure that you understand, what next steps you're taking here and how to best prepare for it. It also is a bit of prep for boards, which we do have a boards review course that starts in the fall semester of 3rd year. So Delasha is currently in her boards prep course or boards review course. And then we also purchase a boards prep course for students to utilize as they prepare to take part 1, which is usually the spring semester of 3rd year. As you progress on to take part 2, there's a Blackboard organization that has all sorts of different test prep material and case questions and practice exams for you. And then for part 3, that is the in-person exam that students have to go to North Carolina to take specifically as a hands-on clinical exam. So we have a whole room here on campus that is dedicated to part 3 and mimics all the same exact equipment that you'll experience down in North Carolina. So there's no surprises as to which equipment you'll be using. You'll be able to familiarize yourself ahead of the time, and you'll get assigned to the part 3 room to run through some practice exams with our faculty. So all these initiatives have really helped to bring up our board scores, and we are right in line with the national average there. But talking a little bit more about our facilities here, I'd love to key in Dr. O'Leary a little bit, since this is her bread and butter. What can you tell us about our on-campus spaces and facilities?
Yeah, so like Delasha mentioned, the Eye and Vision Center is where you start seeing patients during second year, but it's also where our specialty clinics are housed for 3rd year. And I will say, when I first started here, it was really exciting to see the university support all the technology to support all the specialty clinics. So that's something when you start to, get more familiar with the Eye and Vision Center and you walk around to the different specialty clinics, you'll see that there's different examination rooms that have technology devoted to the specialty clinics. To be honest, some of the anterior seg ones, for specialty contact lenses, which I personally don't do, some of the equipment in there, I don't even know what it does because we just have so much equipment that's in there that our contact lens specialists work well with. For me personally, I work in pediatrics binocular vision, so we have some of the best technology to help not only children, but also adult patients in vision therapy. Another thing that you maybe have saw on a previous slide was essentially simulation for using VIO. So we have a virtual reality simulation called VR Magic, where students can practice, if you're going to pull the picture up.
Pull it up.
Yeah. Well, I keep going.
Right
Yep, right
there.
here. So students can practice examining the posterior seg or retina of a patient. So Lily's kind of getting lined up to examine the back of the eye. And obviously this isn't a video, but if she were to start to pull back, you can see on the screen on the right-hand side, we'd start to focus more on the retina and fill the lens up of the retina. So that's a really cool thing that our students can utilize to help practice. And it actually does show disease as well. So if their students are learning a specific disease in their class, they can then, come to the VR Magic and they may be able to see that disease actually on a retina, a simulation retina. But I think it helps to really tie the two together so that, again, our students are most prepared when they are in clinic.
Absolutely. Always cool to see that in action. So in addition to that, we do have plenty of research opportunities on campus that are available to students. Would you be able to talk a little bit more about that as well, Dr. O'Leary?
Yeah, so I always like to say too that research is not a requirement of optometry students. However, we as faculty do have research requirements. And if students do have an interest in research, I 100% say, as a first year student to let that known. We do have a dean of research, Dr. Larry Bates, who can sit and meet with students during their first year to discuss research interests. And then if they do, have an interest that aligns with something faculty is already doing, then students are more than welcome to jump on and help with faculty. So some of the research opportunities that we've done in the past, one of them, it's kind of the third picture over, where we have Dr. DeLiso, that's Dr. DeLiso in the brown sweater there, but she recently did a research study looking at a lens that is helping to bring awareness to patients that have lost visual field or their side vision on one side. So she did that in collaboration with Harvard and also UMass as well. So that was really exciting to see how this new lens can not bring back the patient's vision, but how to enhance the vision that they have lost. And recently too, it's not a picture actually it's the first picture. What am I saying? It's the first picture on the left-hand side, but I recently did a project with my other PEDS colleague looking at eye movement tracking. And obviously, again, being somebody that does pediatrics, this is important for young kids when they're learning to read, to have proper eye movement skills. So we were able to look at a new, essentially augmented reality device when it comes to reading eye movement. So there's research going on, and if students want to take part, we absolutely would love students to jump on some of these research projects.
Absolutely. Plenty of ways to get involved with us if research is something that you're truly passionate about. So hopefully this all sounds super exciting and you'll think about submitting an application soon or in the future. So I next want to talk about how you can do that. So all of our applications go through OptumCAS. So this is a centralized application system that sort of ties everything up into a neat bow and sends it off to the schools that you're applying to. So some things that you'll need to submit to your OptumCAS application are all of your college transcripts. Even if you took like one course at one random summer at a community college, we are going to need that transcript. So just make sure that you're reporting all the educational institutions that you've attended. We do also require a OAT, GRE, DAT, or MCAT score. So we do require at least one standardized test of the 4 on file before we're able to make a decision to interview you or not. So the OAT is the most common one we see, which is the optometry admissions test. So it is really geared towards future optometrists. So I guess we would have slight preference for that one, but all the other ones are also equally accepted. We're looking for the 50th percentile or above on each of those exams. We also do encourage shadowing experience if you can get it, or if you've worked as like an optometric assistant or tech, that's also great to see. I always like to use the analogy, if you're going to buy a car, you want to test drive it. Same goes with your career. It goes a long way too to be able to describe to your faculty interviewer exactly why you can see yourself pursuing the optometry field based off of the experiences that you've had or the observations you've taken from your shadowing or work experience, because I think that it is a really has a lot of great perks being an optometrist. So can you speak to those? And why does it exactly appeal to you and your own lifestyle? So I always encourage you to get experience, but it won't necessarily make or break your application if you aren't able to get it. But I would encourage you to do adequate research on the profession ahead of any interview or whatnot. Candidates are welcome to apply with prerequisite courses outstanding or in progress, just as long as it's not excessive. You're going to want to complete the majority of the prerequisites before you apply or take the OAT or other standardized tests, because you're going to be tested on a lot of this information. So it's good to have that foundational subject matter under your belt through the prerequisite courses prior to applying and taking the standardized test. So you are still welcome to apply with a couple outstanding, but just know that we need all courses completed by August 1st before the year that you'll be enrolling. Another requirement that we have is letters of recommendation. We do need at least one on file in order to review your application for an interview, but we do recommend 2 to 3. Letters of recommendation should be professional in nature. So if coming from like an academic realm, like an academic advisor or a professor that can really speak to your academic performance, that's always great to see. We do also like to see them from a working background, so a manager or supervisor who can speak to your work ethic. And if you've had any opportunity to work alongside an optometrist, that's also great as someone to appoint for a letter of recommendation. But these should be of quality, not necessarily, appoint an optometrist who you've met for an hour to write you a letter of recommendation. It does go a long way to see letters that are from recommenders who clearly know you and can really speak to who you are as an individual and your character. So that would be my advice, is to stick to those types of letters of recommendation. We don't necessarily require a bachelor's degree for this program, but it is preferred. Some candidates will start this program with at least 90 college credits. So that's the minimum entry requirement in terms of college credits that you need in order to start this type of program. So you would need at least 90 credits prior to term start. If you are an international applicant outside of Canada and the United States, we do require a WES, or World Education Services, or ECE, Education Credential Evaluators evaluation. So course by course evaluation specifically to sort of give us an idea of what your courses would equate to in a US equivalency, so we can consider that for prerequisite credit and such. So that is a requirement for candidates that are applying or have taken coursework apart from like study abroad credit outside of the US and Canada. And if you meet our minimum requirements, you can expect to receive an interview by invitation only. We do offer interviews either in person or virtually. I would say we have a lot of students that prefer the virtual option, just because a lot of you don't live too close to Massachusetts or Worcester for that matter. So there's no preference for a virtual versus in person. We do, of course, love to have the opportunity to show you around our campus. So if it's possible, we'd love to have you in person. But otherwise, they are, both viewed the same. So you can opt for whichever one you prefer. So we do always encourage candidates to apply early. The reason being, we have rolling admissions. So as we receive applications, we review them, and we only have limited seats. Historically, our program typically fills mid to late spring. So there is still time to submit an application if you are, looking to maybe get some fall courses under your belt and take the OAT over winter break or whatnot. So don't feel like you need to submit it as soon as possible. We would prefer for you to put forward a quality application when the time is right. Our deadline is May 1st, but like I said, sometimes our spaces do fill ahead of the deadline, so that is important to just make sure you're aware of these deadlines as they do approach. Some of the things that we review in order for us to determine candidacy is the GPAs. So we're not only looking at your cumulative GPA, but also your prerequisite GPA and your science GPA. All of these should be a 3.0 or above. We do consider GPA slightly below this as well. It is a holistic review process. So in the case where the GPAs are a bit on the lower end, we are looking for a bit higher of test scores to help outweigh that. And a note about the cumulative GPA, that is going to be calculated by Optomcast. So if you have had any repeated courses, Optomcast is going to calculate both the new grade and the old grade into the cumulative GPA. So some schools might have not counted your repeated course, the original grade in your calculation. So just fair warning that in those cases, your cumulative GPA might be reflected a little bit lower than you anticipated. We do also like to see that you've done your research on not only optometry, but on MCPHS, as you can convey to us in the supplemental questions and the essay portion of the application. So please don't overlook those sections of your application. Your faculty interviewer will be reading them, and they may ask you about some of the things that were included in your responses. So it does go a good way to show that you've done some research on MCPHS and can differentiate us from, maybe some of the other schools that you're applying to. I think there are a lot of things that make MCPHS unique, which we kind of touched on in today's presentation. So if you're listening now, you've got a good start and hopefully some good material to help you write that supplemental question. And lastly, the timing of the application, of course, is important. Again, rolling admissions, so keep that in mind. So all domestic students are eligible to apply to the FAFSA. That is our school code there. Our tuition and fees is also available on our website. We're very transparent about that. But if you do have any hesitation about how you're going to be able to finance your education, we offer affordability appointments with our student financial services team. So they are more than happy to sit down with you and discuss how you can best finance your education throughout this 4-year duration of the optometry program. So feel free to connect with our team for more information on that. But the good news is we do offer merit scholarships to all admitted students into this program. Students are considered for up to $12,000 per year. And sometimes it's based off, for the most part, it's based off of GPA, but we also get some nice faculty shout outs after interviews that really advocate for our candidates to receive a little bit more upon acceptance. In addition to that, too, we are happy to discuss finances in more detail, especially if it's a concern of yours. So we can definitely take time to see what we can do to help make this program possible for you. And last but not least, I have a couple of other links and things that are available to you to take down if you want to learn more about us. So before I talk about those, I'd like to just remind you that we do have a Q&A box on the corner of our screen here if you wanted to submit any final questions that you have about the program that we weren't able to address. Now's the time to jot those down for myself, Dr. O'Leary, or Delasha to address. So we look forward to receiving those. But if you do want to come for a campus tour, that is available on our website. That's mcphs.edu/visit. Not only do we have campus tours on Mondays and Fridays, but also select Saturdays as well. And we do have an event coming up on Thursday, November 6th, which we would love for you to attend if you happen to find yourself in the area. So that would be a Thursday evening event. It's our fall reception event, and we would love to show you on campus in a little bit more of an in-depth experience where there'll be multiple faculty and current students in attendance to give you more of an in-depth look at not only the program, but how some of our equipment works and things like that. So it's more of a hands-on experience with some food and some guest speakers too. So stay tuned for that. We have a virtual tour on our website as well if you wanted to poke around campus and see how it's laid out. It's not super in-depth when it comes to the School of Optometry, so I would instead point you towards our YouTube channels at MCPHS TV and at MCPHS Admissions. And our Instagram pages are also a great place to learn more about us, especially MCPHS Opto, where you can kind of see exactly what's been going on in our optometry program specifically. And last but not least is my contact information. Feel free to take that down. I do offer one-on-one appointments. If you wanted to discuss your own individual candidacy, just send me an email and I will send you a link to my calendar and we can chat more about how we can get you in this program in the future.